of Agile and how she applied them in the work and in real life.
My work and
floor
how
is yours.
Thank you. So every day at work we have roughly around 7-8 hours working on the website development, working on the back end, and it certainly affects your life because that's a habit. That's what you learn from majority of the time you spend with your colleague. It's certainly affecting your life. So I want to discuss what I learned, and hopefully it give you some ideas too. So before I started, I want to give you a bit background. I born in China, 100% made in China actually. And when I was 19, I went to Australia and studied there for computer science, software engineer for bachelor degree, and then I did master of IT. After that, I did 3 years website development and the database crunching, all the SSLs, all the different Pro and all the old language I've been using for 3 years. And before long, I had hunted by Google, and that's how I landed in Google Sydney for 2 years. And this year, in March, on the March 7th, I just moved to Google London as a technical creative specialist. And the product I'm working on is Google Ads. The first one I want to talking about is networking. So people here, how many of you do you actually like networking? Could you put up your hands? Maybe? Not really feeling like so? Well, you're not alone. I personally, when I started, I don't really like networking. And I feel like networking is like agile iterations. Don't you feel like so? The first time when you go somewhere, you're nervous. And you don't know what the person you're going to meet. It's like when you get a new requirement, a new features, a new client, and you're thinking about, what the hell? Why did they want like these new things? But I have to know them. I need to make the effort to know them better. And maybe I will have the sympathy. Maybe I'll feel like, well, this is a great product. I will actually commit and work on it. And then later on, you will go to different events because you will find maybe this is the type of the event you like to join, maybe it is not. And you just keep exploring. It is like different test cases. You bring different questions to different people and ask them. You will find maybe this is your person, maybe it's not. And sooner than later, you will find someone have like similar interests with you. And then you have like very meaningful conversation, but then at some point, you will begin to agree to disagree, right? And for me, I feel like that's like sprint debrief. You have different opinions, and then you debate with your team member or the person you meet. And most importantly, you learn over time. That's why you join the community like this, because you devote yourself into this, you found this is your passion, and this is something you like, and you learn from each other. Like myself, I learned a lot from the first 2 speakers. I feel like that's very, very beneficial for my time, for an hour, and I learn from them. So networking for me is like agile iterations. The second one is communication. I think everyone knows communication in agile is so important, and I want to use my own personal experience to give you example. If you still remember on the first slide, beside Google, I'm also a part-time co-founder. What does that mean? So I actually started my own business last year in October with my co-founder when I was still in Sydney. And the business itself is called China Ambition. Basically, it's an online portal, and we help the foreign companies to engage the Chinese audience on different levels. And as you can guess, I'm still continuing the business. So that means myself in London, my original founding team, my full-time co-founder in Australia, with my developers and majority of the staff there. And then we also have a team in China to run the local operations, to meet with the local clients and bring them for factory visit or whatever different purpose. So we really have to do it because I don't want to give up. This is something we create together, and we see the big potential, so we have to make it work. So now you're probably thinking about, how do you do stand-up meetings? We sit down and do meetings on Hangouts. We don't stand up. And how many of you actually do stand up on a daily basis? Great. On a weekly basis? Wow, cool. Monthly? Never? No? Great. My first idea is I want to have the daily stand-up as well. But thinking about different time zone and different location and maybe language barriers we have, it's very, very difficult. And the first time, I'm like, okay, I'm going to bring the power. I'm the owner. I'm going to demand you. How about Monday morning, my time? And then some of them, they still work in Australia, and that's fine. Some of them in China, it's already dinner time, or they have to go home. It doesn't really work. Like you can see the emotion from the Hangout or Skype. It doesn't really work. So I thought, I actually hired people to help me to do the work. I need to make them happy and make them feel valued. So okay, I'm going to sacrifice myself. So I let them to start the meeting, maybe 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's like 2 or 3 here. And I was just like sitting in bed, look like rubbish, and like listen to them and do the different update. It doesn't work too. I feel like my brain doesn't work. I can't give any solution. I can't decide anything. So how can we actually do it? So I decided, how about we have the co-founder meetings on Sunday? So that's what I do. On Sunday night, which is Monday morning, I will have co-founder catch up with my co-founder in Australia. And after that, I'll have feel like, now I can go sleep. And then she can catch up with the team over there in Australia. And then 2 hours later, she can catch up with the staff in China. So that's pretty okay. And for me, after I'm working at Google for 8 hours, I'll catch up with my staff over dinner and talking about what's the client, what's the plan we're going to do. So that's what we learned and how we make it work. And we have this very famous Chinese proverb. And literally, the Chinglish version of it is, the tool is dead, people is living. So in Agile, it means one must learn to be flexible. So that's what we learned, how to be communicate. It's really hard to be face-to-face communication at that point, and we can't fly people over. I can't be fly back to Australia or China very frequently, so we have to learn it, and we have to adapt to it. And if there's any challenge, we have to address it. Be agile. And we also do digital version of Kanban as well. We will use the online version and see different team what they have done. Normally they have different. They don't have overlapping tasks. So sometimes they're working in pairs, which is really good, and we can see different team across different time zone what's going on. And then I think the most important part is about action. So when you have more clients sign up, and then you have to improve your system, then you have a lot of different features you want to launch. But which one do you pick? They are all very hard. They seem like different clients have different priority. You don't want to lose any of them because they are on annual subscription base, right? They are all big clients for different regions. So what are we thinking about it? We want to make it happen. And how we do it is, other than contract negotiation with the client, we normally start something from the ground and working with the client on the changing basis. So the way we're choosing client, we thought because we are a small agency, how about we targeting the small SMB first? In that way, because they have 3 to 5 years plans, and it's pretty much working along with our pace as well. So it's not very aggressive, and then we can actually address the change. The second is the full feature requirement. And we're thinking about, we can't address all the features altogether. We only have one development team in Australia, and we have to prioritize which one is the most important thing for them to do. So we decided we have the working platform first. We address the basic need for all the clients, and then we're thinking about different ways to address different needs for other clients. And the third thing is process and tools. Now this stage, we have so many different tools and process we can use. And then some of the stuff will feel like it's just tool overload. You have so many different things, and you're actually wasting a lot of time on logging the time, what you have done, and then you can measure your performance and different things. So we actually evaluate human interactions more than process and tools. I think that's the benefit when you are small and you can be really agile on these things. The last but not least is following rules. We have very good trust between the team members, and we encourage everyone to be resilient and responsive. We actually have something called 5 minutes emergency. That is, every day we allocate maybe 5 to 10 minutes for every member. And when something happened urgently on the client side, we let them to send a voice message, not by typing. You're not allowed by typing. You have to send the voice message. The way is, since we can't see each other, by voice message, you pretty much get a lot of sense. What's the problem? Is that person upset? And then you can get a lot of mixed signal from the staff sending the message. And it's actually safer as well. If you're driving, if you are, I don't know, you're not supposed to look at the screen, you can listen to the group chat and figure out what's going on and quickly catching up and get everyone on the same page. So we call it emergency 5 to 10 minutes for each staff to use. And this is an analogy for us to use. We need to have a working platform first, and then we will building on it different feature on top of it. My last part is called time management. Every day we have so much time, so much things to do. As the first speaker said, they have 20 minutes time and thinking about do they do tasks in the environment or do they do different things. So time management is very critical. This is a taxi driver I encountered in Hong Kong, and this is their screen. It's the first time I was shocked. I feel like my safety, I just want to get out of it. How can I trust this person to drive the cab? But then, this person is definitely the master of multitasking. He would have a screen for videos and listening to music, everything, and then another phone for calling the families, relatives, and chatting in Cantonese or Mandarin, and then, of course, have screen for Uber, well, it's merged, or Didi 打车, things like that, and getting people along the way for the carpooling. He never missed a single point where he can pick up the additional passenger and fill the empty seats along us and still get us to the place where we're supposed to be and don't waste our time and still chatting with us very happily. So I asked him, how do you manage all the screen and not crashing? How many points you still have in your lessons? He's like, I'm pretty good. And he say, he's not starting like this, like magic. He actually experiment, maybe the first time, 1 or 2 screen and different position. And he will try at which position doesn't block the view and he can see everything. So, and then he gradually adds on different screen, and it's actually become a feature. It's become a social media bomb. Everyone wants to get into his cab now, so it's like a very successful entrepreneur to running his own cab. So I think multitasking or single tasking is something we're always debating at work. Sometimes we have maybe 5 or 10 emails come in, or 5 tasks we're supposed to close in this cycle. And which one do you address first? Is the one most pressing? Is the one most important to you? Is the one the priority to the client? Or is the one you can fix in 5 minutes? That's all the questions we have in the development cycle, and we have. So be able to prioritize and thinking about, you only have one choice, right? If you have the client, you don't want to lose it. You definitely don't want to screw it. And you have to make it right. Making a live coffee first and working with your client and get them on the first page. You only live once. You choose to join the community this time, and I hope to see you next time as well. So to summarize, the 4 points I'm talking about, networking, communication, action, and time management, that's what I learned from Agile development and how I apply to busy life in London. And if you have any questions, if you want to get in touch, you are more than welcome to email me or follow me on Twitter or WeChat or Instagram. So thank you.
Thank you. Do we got any questions right now? Anyone wants to ask questions to her while she's on the stage? All right, then. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thanks to all the speakers. Well, to sum up, I hope that you've learned something. I hope that you had a lot of fun. I did, personally. We will make the slides available online. We will make the video available online. So if you missed something, you can always rewatch it at home. Don't go home yet. There's still some food over there, I see. There's still some drinks over there as well. So stay with us. Let's mingle. Let's have fun. And thank you very much again for coming. And yes, the votes, the grades, you graded all the people. Just put them right here on that table so we can then collect them together and see how did they do. Thank you very much again. Have a nice evening.